The movie begins as Riley Burdett, a passionate casting director at Onoda Theater, conducts auditions for A Christmas Carol. She has friends named Archie and Bridget, who are very supportive of her. One evening, she receives a phone call from Regina Caldwell, the late theater owner's wife. Regina wants to sell the theater to a rich condominium developer. Riley is devastated by this because she loves Onoda like it were her own. She had initially planned on eating dinner with Bridget, but as soon as she hears the news, she loses her appetite and goes out for some fresh air. She walks down to the theater, and then gets the idea of talking to Christmas spirits to shine their light on Regina so that she doesn't sell the theater. Right at that moment, Sam Campbell, Regina's nephew, walks in on her session. A startled Riley has a lot of questions about his identity and what he's doing there. He ultimately reveals that he has been tasked with helping his aunt sell the place. What could easily have turned into a heated conversation remains civil. The two sit side by side and chat. There are certain takeaways from their conversation. Sam is a talented actor, and he muses that his late uncle had always praised Riley as the greatest assistant director ever. He mentions that he got representatives from an early age and was whisked to Los Angeles. He muses that it is sad that he will sell the theater before he gets to experience stage magic. He further reiterates that it may be sad, but it's a necessary evil to sell the place, because his widowed aunt spends more money on maintaining the theater than she receives as profit. Riley suddenly has an idea. She asks Sam to play a role in the upcoming Christmas Carol show. She explains that it's a win-win situation, because he will get to experience stage magic, and she will finally complete her cast, even if it's for one last time. Sam agrees, and she hands a script over to him. That night, Riley stays up searching for ways to save the theater. Bridget, her best friend and roommate, wakes up to find her working. They discuss the possible scenarios and reach a conclusion that if the news that Sam Campbell is performing gets out, they could pull in a massive amount of ticket sales that just might convince Regina to not sell the place. The next day, Sam auditions, and Riley is blown away to the point that she says wow multiple times. Even then, she tries to hide the fact that she's impressed and insists on treating Sam like a regular person who would wait till the cast list is out in order to know their fate. The viewers can see that Sam appreciates that she doesn't treat him like he dropped from the stars. They eventually go tree shopping together and spend time together setting up the decorations. Riley reveals that she has been involved with the theater and with Jake Campbell, the theater's late owner, ever since she was 5 years old. She was first cast as Tiny Tim and hasn't looked back since. She reveals that she was a foster kid, and Jake took her in and showed her much love. And that's why she's passionate about enrolling kids in foster programs to perform in plays. It's her way of giving back to society. Sam is visibly touched by this story. Soon the cast list comes out, and Sam is cast as Bob Cratchit. Archie, an aged man who is close friends with Riley, is cast as Mr. Scrooge. Archie is also a fantastic actor, and the three have a wonderful time during rehearsals. When Sam discovers that Riley really wants to speak with Regina concerning the theater, he gives Riley a clue about her schedule. He then helps Riley set up a surprise 90s-themed Christmas dinner. The dinner initially goes well as Archie, Sam, Regina, and Riley reminisce about Jake's kindness and the lives he touched through the theater. Bridget is also at the dinner table, but she hasn't met Jake in his lifetime, so she comments that he sounds like a lovely person and wishes to have met him. Soon, Archie, Sam, and Bridget give Riley and Regina space so that they could have their long-awaited discussion. The conversation doesn't end the way Riley hoped. It quickly gets heated, and Regina storms off angrily. In the next scene, Sam and Riley take a walk in the streets. They get to know more about each other. Sam confesses that he likes watching Riley's face because she is so ecstatic about life and truly cares for the people around her. He admires the fact that she knows what she wants and goes after it. He mentions that he, on the other hand, is rich, but stays up at night in a mansion questioning his unhappiness. It is Riley's turn to confess the things she likes about him. Out of everything she says, it seems the one that strikes the most chords in Sam's heart is that he reminds her of Jake in an uncanny way, which is a good thing because Jake is an awesome person to take after. Sam is visibly moved and immediately holds her hand as they continue their stroll. Riley gets back home and is pleased with her outing with Sam. She is clearly developing a crush on him, which Bridget points out. But Riley attempts to downplay her feelings. She points out that Sam will return to LA. By New Year's, he will have 1,001 gorgeous girls at his beck and call. The following night, Riley and her company invite the community to come for their show. She gives a little background on what the play's about, but Regina, who is in the crowd, thinks Riley's message is actually about her. Regina is pissed and confronts Riley later that night. In her outburst, she states that she wants to wash her hands of the theater and that she wants to retire. She essentially tells Riley to leave her be and warns that cozying up with Sam will not change her mind. Regina ends the conversation by stating that Sam is still on her side because he also needs the seven-figure sum that Mr. Davenport, the condominium developer, will pay. Riley is shocked by this, and when Sam meets up with her and suggests that they have a movie night at her place, she reluctantly agrees. Because he cares for her, it doesn't take long for Sam to notice that she is down in spirits. When they get to her place, he asks, and Riley tells him of her conversation with Regina. She then questions if he will also be receiving money from the transaction, because she has always been under the impression that he is merely assisting Regina with paperwork. It is here that Sam reveals that he and Regina co-own the theater. Jake bequeathed his portion to Sam, and so Sam will receive a part of the payment. Riley questions him further, and he reveals that he initially had no qualms with turning the theater into condominiums, but then he met her, and things changed. Sam says he didn't tell her the whole truth immediately because he didn't want her to think he was plotting against her, or that he was just there for the money. Riley doesn't accept his explanations. She points out that he had every opportunity to come clean, but he instead chose to act like he was totally innocent. Riley is heartbroken that Sam lied and was only playing a part. Meanwhile, she poured her heart out to him and confided her truth to him. She ends the conversation by asking him to leave her house. Sam apologizes to her, and Riley is in tears, but she insists that he leave. As he's about to step out the door, she sourly commends him on his good acting. Later that night, Riley talks to Bridget about the messed up situation. Riley wails and says that she always felt like her fight was against Regina, but it was actually against her nephew and aunt. In Bridget's wisdom, she asks if Sam has signed the papers, to which Riley replies in the negative. Bridget then says, perhaps Riley's instinct that her fight is with Regina only is solid, and that perhaps Sam is fighting with himself, and that is plenty. Riley receives a little consolation from this. In the next scene, Sam and Regina have a heated conversation. Sam wants to hold off on the sale. Regina is not pleased with this. She accuses Sam of letting a pretty woman confuse his plans. Sam counters by saying that it is not about Riley, but it's about the place. He emphatically states that the theater is the beating heart of the whole community. He explains how the audience, the cast, and in fact, everyone involved feels like they are part of something special. And this is a rare human experience. Regina then says that she doesn't care how they feel, and that she wants the theater out of her life. On hearing this, Sam proposes a compromise. He suggests that they sell the theater to someone who will keep it alive. Regina remains adamant. Sam then points out that Regina should not punish a community just because she hasn't moved on from Jake. Regina becomes even more infuriated and says that if Sam doesn't sign the contract, she will do all that is in her power to ensure that the last Christmas Carol show does not hold. She storms off after this. Sam immediately visits Riley and tells her of the altercation with Regina and its consequences. Riley is very grateful that Sam has decided against turning the theater into condos, but Regina strikes by locking all the entry points into the theater with new, heavy-duty padlocks. Riley and her gang are forced to use a high school's gymnasium for their rehearsals. The Christmas Carol show is 2 days away, and Riley is understandably anxious. She, Sam, and two little kids who play Tiny Tim and Little Fan go on air to reveal their plight. Sam also uses his massive online presence to garner pecuniary support for the theater. Regina, who sees the news, grudgingly asks to meet with Riley. Regina is very emotional and says that she just wants to move on. She says that anytime she walks into the theater, she feels Jake's ghost. And what's worse is that the community people expect her to be as charming and charismatic and filled with Christmas cheer as Jake. She cries that she can't live up to him. She further wails that the mere existence of the theater makes the fact that he is gone resounding, and she can't bear it anymore. When Regina gets overwhelmed with emotion, Riley moves closer to comfort her. Riley attends to Regina's emotional needs. She tells Regina that it is true that Jake had a larger-than-life personality, but that people see Regina as an amazing person in her own right. Riley then says she's fighting to save the theater because it is Jake's legacy, and Jake would want it thriving. She finally tells Regina that everyone is interested in her well-being, and that if she needs help, she has a plethora of shoulders to pick from. The women settle their differences and decide to work together and make the Christmas Carol show phenomenal. At the end of the show, Regina gives her stake in the Onoda Theater to Riley and hands over its keys. The women hug to seal the emotional moment, and the crowd goes wild with ovations. Riley and Sam are now co-owners and thus business partners. During Christmas Eve, while she's alone and making preparations at the theater, Sam meets her, and they have a little chat. He reveals that he doesn't intend to go back to LA at New Year anymore, and that he wants to spend time getting to know his partner. She then replies that since they are partners now, he should never keep secrets from her. He agrees to this. He then shares his last secret, which is that this is the best Christmas he has ever had. She responds that this is also her best Christmas ever. And they kiss. The end.